Alright, hi guys, I'm Tracy. Thank you for joining me today. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the two brushes by Sonia G, the Smooth Buffer and the Buffer Pro. And I wanted to get this up really quick because these are still available. And this one's very hard to come by. If you're familiar with her restocks and everything, this one doesn't usually last more than a day. So I wanted to, you know, if you guys had this one and were thinking of this one or vice versa, maybe this will help you guys decide whether to get one of them or not. So but before we get started, I wanted to say thank you guys for such an amazing 2021. I had a little personal goal and I didn't tell anyone because I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna make it, but I wanted to hit 500 subscribers by the end of last year. And December, pretty much the second half of December, the channel really took off, and I was actually at 500 before it turned 2022. So I just wanted to really sincerely thank you guys for all the participation and the comments and the positive feedback I've been getting, and you know, just for everything, and it really made my 2021 so much more meaningful. And I have a lot of content planned. You know, now that I'm back in town, I'll start cranking out more videos. And maybe in another video I could talk about those things, you know, where the channel is going and what I have planned. But, you know, very straightforward about comparing these two. Now, I've had this for some time. I got this one at launch, so it looks much different. And I'll show you guys side by side. I just got the Buffer Pro. Well, I just got back in town yesterday, so I just opened it. And I used the Smooth Buffer on this side of my face for all powder products, and then this one for all powder products. I'll insert clips of me doing the bronzer. Actually, I start out with the powder. I use the Dior Powder No Powder. And I use that to set my face, which I normally don't use this kind of brush to set my face, but I just wanted to see how they compared. And I think they both did a fine job. Just keep in mind that these, because I've been washing and using it, and the Buffer Pro is brand new, so it's not as splayed out. So it actually is the Smooth Buffer is actually bigger as far as the surface area, but I believe after I use and wash the Buffer Pro that will change. I also did my bronzer, which I actually really liked the way the bronzer came out. I used the Hourglass Sculpture palette, and I like that one because it's a very subtle bronzer. I don't want to like mess up and have to fix it, but I really like the way they went on with both. And then I did my blush. I used the Chanel blush in Love, and that actually they all came out pretty good. I do feel like because the Buffer Pro, the hairs are like a little stiffer, it kind of lifted my concealer and foundation a little on this side, like where my cheek area is, but that's to be expected. And I feel like it didn't come out as smooth, but we're gonna do, see, the Smooth Buffer side is a lot smoother. But we're gonna do the finishing powder with both of them and then see how that kind of blends everything together. I think that it will really help. So I'm gonna start out with, and I have a new finishing powder, but I don't want to use something new because I want to use something I'm familiar with. So I'm using the setting powder from the Sculpture palette as well. I believe it's called Soft Light. And this one, that one doesn't come in individual, so I'm kind of forced to do this. But these brushes do kind of fit into these small hourglass pans, which I appreciate. So I feel like of all the different tasks, this is what this brush is best at, is going over with finishing powder and blending everything in and just giving your skin that extra smoothness. See how it did that? So let me do that on this side. Now, I don't think this is going to come out as well, you know, just because it's not, you know, it's so firm right now. It's just hard to, it's kind of been difficult to use just because I'm afraid that it's going to be lifting my base makeup. But I did do my base makeup quite a while ago, so it's definitely dry. And that's what I like about these brushes. They can get really close to under the eye and like to this area. See how it smooths these cheek products out. So I think they both worked really well with the finishing powder. It kind of just blended everything together, and on both sides, especially on this one, I felt like my blush and my bronzer was a little patchy, but I feel like it just kind of blended everything together. Alright, so here are my final thoughts on these two brushes, and I'll also give you guys some close-ups because I did some earlier, and when I was editing it, they didn't come out focused. So this is the Smooth Buffer. Now I've had it for God, over a year, between 1 and 2 years. I have not used it a whole lot, but I've started to. So that's what that one looks like right now. And I compare it to the Buffer Pro, which is brand new, but just wanted to give you guys, this one is slightly longer, slightly wider at the base of the ferrule. So it's a pretty dense brush. They both are. And these are dyed Sai Coho goat hair, and I believe they're coming from, these brushes are coming from the same brush maker. And they're both beautiful brushes. So this is my opinion on these two right now. I understand this is not apples to apples because this has been used and washed, and you know, they're not quite at the same stage. But I do feel like if you have one, like if you have this one, you don't need this one. So far, I haven't noticed a big difference in the performance, and you know, the finished look. I think they're very, very similar. This one, if you have this one, you know, maybe if yours is a lot bigger and you want something a little smaller, because this fits into little areas, then this one might make sense. But I don't think you need both. If you have one, I don't think you need the other. And it's just a matter of preference, how you plan to use them, and you know, what kind of products you're using. But if you're going to use it for finishing powder, like the Hourglass ambient lighting powders, I don't think they make a difference. If you're going to use it for bronzer, blush, and things like that, I think it will, because this is going to be a lot bigger. It's going to cover a bigger space. If you're going to use this to contour, I think this one is better, because it just fits that space a little better, and it fits here very nicely. It's a good size. It's also good for this area, but so is this one. So that's what I think right now. If you have one, you don't necessarily need the other, but if you have both, I mean, is great as well. If you don't have either and you can't decide, I would get the Buffer Pro. It's a lot more, well, it's more brush for not that much more money, unless you prefer a smaller one. But this one is a little bit easier to get your hands on. This one is not. I'm really surprised it's still on the Beautylish website. So I think if maybe you don't have either one, I think I would go with this one, the Buffer Pro. So there you go. That is those are my final thoughts. Oh, I really quickly wanted to say, and I kind of mentioned this before, but I've used both of them now for all the different powder products, from setting powder, blush, bronzer, highlighter, and then finishing powder. I do think with both of them, applying finishing powder is where these brushes are best and where they do a fabulous job. As far as the other products, I think you can get the same results with other brushes. So So that's what I feel with these buffer brushes. And if you guys have both and you feel like there's a need to have both or not, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And I will keep you guys posted with the changes in this brush, and if my opinion changes. And it might, because I know this is going to change a lot. So that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.